Have you ever wondered if dragons really existed? What an enigma these creatures are. Shrouded in mystery and folklore, dragons have captured our collective imaginations for centuries. They're mythical, mystical, and yet so incredibly tangible in the stories we've woven around them. From the fiery beasts of Western fables to the benevolent serpents of Eastern legends, dragons have found a home in our tales, our art, and our history. These creatures, often depicted as gargantuan winged serpents, have been a symbol of power and awe. They've been revered, feared, and everything in between. They've been the guardians of treasures, the harbingers of doom, and sometimes the embodiment of wisdom itself. Across the globe, from the ancient civilizations of China and India to the Norse tribes of Scandinavia, from the Native American cultures to the African tribes, dragons have held a significant place. They've adorned our palaces and temples, they've inspired our literature and folklore, and they've even found their way into our modern pop culture. But why this universal fascination with a creature that, for all we know, might have never existed? What is it about dragons that transcend geographical boundaries and cultural differences? Perhaps it's the allure of the unknown, the thrill of a good story, or maybe it's the human penchant for creating larger-than-life figures to symbolize our fears and aspirations. Whatever the reasons, dragons have become an integral part of our cultural fabric, and yet they remain an enigma. Their existence is as elusive as the smoke from their fiery breath. They're as real as our stories make them, and as mythical as our imaginations can stretch. But what if we could look beyond the stories and the myths? What if we could delve deeper into the dragon's lair, peeling away the layers of fantasy to question the reality of these formidable creatures? As we embark on this journey, let's keep an open mind and a curious heart. As we delve into the dragon's lair, let's question the reality of these formidable creatures. In the East, dragons are more than mere myths. They occupy a central place in the tapestry of Eastern cultures, particularly Chinese mythology. When one speaks of dragons in the East, we are not referring to the fire-breathing monsters of Western lore, but rather majestic creatures that symbolize power, strength, and good luck. In Chinese mythology, dragons are often depicted as long, serpent-like creatures with 4 legs. Far from being malevolent, these dragons are seen as wise and benevolent. They are associated with water, rain, and floods, and are often called upon to bring about prosperity and good harvest. Emperors, the supreme rulers of ancient China, considered themselves descendants of dragons, the symbol of their divine right to rule. This association with the celestial dragon elevated their status, reflecting their power and authority. Dragons also play a pivotal role in Chinese celebrations. The Chinese New Year, for instance, is incomplete without the traditional dragon dance meant to drive away evil spirits and usher in good fortune. The Dragon Boat Festival, another major event, commemorates the life and death of the ancient poet Qu Yuan, with dragon-shaped boats taking center stage. In contrast to the destructive dragons of Western folklore, Eastern dragons are seen as protectors. They are often depicted holding a magical pearl, symbolizing their role as guardians of wisdom and power. They are not the villains of the story, but rather the heroes. But it's not just in China where dragons hold sway. In Japanese folklore, dragons are water deities associated with rainfall and bodies of water. In Vietnamese culture, the dragon is a symbol of royalty and prosperity. Across the East, the dragon is revered, celebrated, and respected. This benevolent image of the dragon is a stark contrast to the fire-breathing beasts of Western mythology. Where Western dragons are often slain by the story's hero, in the East, dragons are the heroes of the story. They are not feared, but revered. They are not monsters, but symbols of wisdom, power, and good luck. Eastern dragons, thus, are not beasts to be slain, but deities to be revered. In contrast, Western dragons are often the adversaries in heroic tales. In the tapestry of Western mythology, dragons are woven into the fabric as fearsome beasts, embodying chaos, destruction, and greed. Unlike their Eastern counterparts, they don't symbolize prosperity or balance. Instead, they are the obstacles that heroes must overcome, the embodiment of the trials and tribulations that must be faced to achieve greatness. These dragons are typically depicted as large, fire-breathing serpents or reptiles, with wings that blot out the sun and talons that can shred steel. They are destructive by nature, laying waste to villages and cities in their wrath. their breath a torrent of death and destruction. But their destructive prowess isn't their only defining trait. Western dragons are infamous for their insatiable greed, hoarding vast treasures in their lairs, gold and jewels pilfered from the kingdoms they've ravaged. One of the most famous Western dragon myths is the tale of St. George and the dragon. In this story, a dragon plagues a town, its demands for sheep escalating to the point where the townsfolk have no choice but to offer it their own children. When the king's daughter is chosen as the next sacrifice, St. George, a brave knight, steps in. He slays the dragon, rescuing the princess and freeing the town from the dragon's tyranny. This tale, like many others in Western mythology, paints the dragon as an embodiment of evil, a force of chaos that must be quelled for peace to prevail. It's not just a fight against a physical beast, but a metaphorical battle against the forces of chaos and destruction that threaten to overwhelm society. The hero's victory over the dragon signifies the triumph of order over chaos, of good over evil. So you see, dragons in Western mythology are more than just mythical beasts. They're symbols, metaphors for the struggles we face in our lives. And to conquer a Western dragon, that's to triumph over chaos and evil. It's a symbol of our ability to overcome the odds, to face down our fears and emerge victorious. The dragon may be a fearsome creature, but in the end, it's just another obstacle on the road to greatness. To conquer a Western dragon is to triumph over chaos and evil. But do dragons exist beyond the realm of myth and legend? This question has fascinated mankind for centuries. The answer, as is often the case, is not straightforward and lies somewhere between reality and fantasy. Let's take a closer look. Some theories suggest that dragon myths originated from the discovery of dinosaur fossils. Imagine stumbling across a Tyrannosaurus rex skull in an era devoid of scientific understanding. The size, the sharp teeth, the alien structure, wouldn't it be easy to interpret this as the remains of a dragon? Furthermore, these ancient bones were often found in remote, inaccessible locations, adding to their mystique and fostering tales of fearsome beasts lurking in unexplored lands. Then there are the living dragons among us, the large reptiles. The Komodo dragon, for instance, is an intimidating creature that can grow up to 10 feet long. With its forked tongue, scaly skin, and deadly bite, it's not hard to see why it might have inspired dragon legends. However, it lacks the wings and fiery breath that are quintessential to our traditional image of a dragon. From a scientific perspective, the existence of dragons as depicted in myths and legends is highly improbable. The laws of physics simply do not support the flight of a creature as large and heavy as the dragons of lore. Similarly, there is no known biological mechanism that could allow a creature to breathe fire. Historically, there are no reliable records of dragon encounters. Yes, there are countless tales, but they lack the consistency and detail that would lend them credibility. They are more likely the product of human imagination, our inherent fear of the unknown, and perhaps our desire to believe in something extraordinary. While dragons may not exist as we imagine them, they live on in our stories and symbolisms. They represent power, wisdom, and chaos, serving as metaphors for the struggles and triumphs of human existence. So in a way, dragons are real, not in flesh and bone, but in the collective consciousness of humanity. Dragons, real or not, have left an indelible mark on our cultures. This statement couldn't be truer. Dragons have woven their way into the fabric of our societies, influencing everything from literature and cinema to festivals and symbolic representations. Take literature, for instance. The dragon has been a recurring character in countless tales across a myriad of cultures. From the fire-breathing beasts of European folklore to the wise and benevolent serpents of Asian mythology, these creatures have been at the heart of many a story. They've served as metaphors for human fears, aspirations, and the eternal struggle between good and evil. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit comes to mind, where the fearsome Smaug represents the destructive power of greed. Moving on to cinema, dragons have graced the silver screen in many forms, capturing the imagination of audiences worldwide. They've been the terrifying antagonist, the misunderstood ally, and everything in between. Remember How to Train Your Dragon? The film beautifully illustrates the transformation of a dragon from a feared predator to a trusted companion, mirroring society's evolving perceptions of these mythical creatures. Festivals and symbols, too, are replete with dragon influences. The Chinese New Year celebrations are incomplete without the traditional dragon dance, a spectacle that embodies the dragon's symbolic role as a harbinger of good fortune and prosperity. In Wales, the red dragon adorns the national flag, a testament to the creature's enduring significance in Welsh mythology. The universal appeal of dragon stories is undeniable. They've transcended geographical boundaries, resonating with people across the globe. Their narratives encapsulate our deepest fears and highest aspirations, serving as a mirror to our collective psyche. Whether they breathe fire or bestow luck, dragons will continue to fascinate us, existing at the crossroads of fear, fantasy, and fascination. Their legacy is timeless, a testament to their enduring presence in our cultural consciousness. A presence that will continue to inspire and intrigue us for generations to come.